I'm going to let Bro Casual give his thoughts on the Stallions Netflix documentary Sign Stealer. Bro Casual, this was untold, and we were told most of it, but we were told about it. What were your thoughts?
That's funny because I actually live streamed it on Twitter. It got taken down off YouTube. I tried to do both, and it like got removed off YouTube. But that's besides the point. I said that exact same thing. I was like, most of this has been told so far. This is not really untold. But I will say, I learned some things from this documentary. So if I could, I'm going to go quickly, but I have some anti-Michigan takes and some pro-Michigan takes that I took away from the documentary. And I'll start with the anti-Michigan stuff. First of all, I think we all knew this already, but it got confirmed to me finally, for sure. Stalions was at the Central Michigan game, and Dave Portnoy was the one that confirmed that he was there. He told the documentary crew that Connor told him that he was definitely the guy that was there. Number two, Connor Stalions definitely bought tickets and gave tickets to friends and family and received back film that he used to like kind of decipher signs. And his excuse of I already knew the signs, so them sending me the signs didn't really help me just does not fly with me. It just doesn't work. And that's cheating. And then the third thing is that, Connor Stalions is just a huge douchebag. I think that was the big takeaway from the documentary in general. He said that he didn't want attention, but then he went to the Ohio State game. He was talking about how he dapped up Michael Barrett after the game, and he went to the national championship game. He had a camera crew following him in there, but he didn't want attention, though. So that's just kind of weird to me. And then quickly, the pro-Michigan stuff. He quit or got fired, whatever happened. They tried to make that a big deal. It doesn't matter to me how he left Michigan. Michigan still went on to win 6 more regular season games or whatever it was, and then 2 playoff games. So without him there, Michigan was still a great team. And they won all of those games with the other teams having the knowledge that, hey, they might be stealing our signs. For example, Michigan State, the first week it came out, they called every play in from the sideline, and they still lost 49-0. And I don't believe that they had Alabama or Washington signs. So I think that if you're a pro-Michigan person, your argument should be, well, we didn't have him the second half of the season. We still won all those games. So that was my takeaway from the whole documentary.
I don't know. Was he signing the signs in from the crowd? Did they know where Stallions was and they were signing him? I'm just saying there could be something there. No, I'm just kidding. Me and Zach and I are on the record multiple times saying Michigan didn't need the signs to win the national championship in 2023. Did they need the signs to go undefeated in 2022 and to only lose 1 game in 2021? I don't know about that, but I mean, that's really hard to decipher. But at the end of the day, they didn't need it for the last few games there, and then they won in the playoffs and had a little bit of help there at the end with Alabama. I don't think that was necessarily as dominant of a game as some people say, but at the end of the day, they didn't beat themselves by some of the stuff in special teams. So, I mean, they didn't need Connor Stalions to win in 2023. And so, if anything, like I get that everybody's celebrating Connor Stalions and stuff like that after this because he kind of looks like a martyr. He kind of looks like, I'll take one for the team, guys. Don't worry. You guys go on. And it's like, dude, you took one for the team and everybody thinks your team is fraudulent now. Like, your team is the one that took it. Like, right. Which to me, as a college football fan, like if I'm putting my Ohio State fandom aside for a second, like that just sucks. I hate all this crap about, like, oh, was that championship real? I hate that there are still people that can argue about, like, the 1940s national championship, who really won that one, or, like, 1997, was it Michigan or Nebraska? Like, that was one of the reasons why I was so excited about the playoffs and an actual national championship game. We still have Georgia fans that think, oh, yeah, Georgia would have won. Well, you didn't. You lost. So, get over it. But anyway, some of my stuff with it was the NCAA. I mean, they 100% rushed their NOA to get ahead of this because Connor Stalions had no idea that they were going to put he was at the Central Michigan game in the NOA or in the draft of the NOA, notice of allegations, because he was out there trying to say, oh, yeah, that wasn't me. Like, does this guy even look like me? It's like, yeah, dude, he does look like you. It looks like somebody put a fake beard on or like grew out their beard for a minute. And like we have the notice of allegations, or the draft, I should say, of the notice of allegations saying it was you. And then literally Dave Portnoy, like 2 minutes later, or 2 minutes earlier, is like, oh, yeah, he was at that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, he told me.
That was the big thing for me. Like when he admitted it, it was like, okay, obviously it was you, but now we have it confirmed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hilariously, Dave Portnoy on Twitter was like, I never said that was him. And I'm like, what do you,
dude, it's
right there. What are you doing? Can you, anyway.
Yeah. But my biggest thing that was missing from it, right? Because you always get one of these documentaries, there's always something you want to see that wasn't there. My biggest thing, actually, I have two things. This is the biggest one. My biggest thing was what the heck happened with the vacuums? All right, there was this whole LLC with Blake Corum and everything, and Blake Corum said he didn't sign on. Like, I wanted to hear about that. What went on with these vacuums? Did the vacuums fund the tickets? You know, like, was he just sending out broken vacuums and scamming people just so that way he could get tickets? People thought they were getting a $500 vacuum and they're actually getting junk. Like, I don't know. Was that how he was funding the tickets? Who knows? I mean, they did bring up Uncle T, so maybe he was the one doing it in the with it all. But and then the other thing that I thought was really interesting was like they literally have ticket receipts for Connor Stalions buying tickets on the 50-yard line on both sides of the field at Big Ten games. Like, you're not just buying tickets for your mom so that way she can sit on both sides of the field. And like, if you're buying tickets for your friends and family, why aren't you buying them all together? Like, do your friends hate your family? Like, they don't want to sit with your family? Like, you're buying one ticket on both sides of the field. I was talking to Zack beforehand about this. Like, no, I shouldn't say nobody. Most people don't go to football games by themselves. And like, most people don't ride to a football game with somebody else just to sit by themselves on opposite ends of the stadium. Like, what are you going to do? Wave to each other like, hey, I'm over here at the 50-yard line. Like, I don't know.
I think it just plays into, and this is my last thing about the anti-Michigan stuff, but there was an extreme amount of gaslighting on the part of the Michigan, whatever you want to call it, conglomerate in this documentary. It's like the main thing that they said that they kept harping on was like, Ohio State hacked our computers. That's how they got the information. And I kept saying, like, when I was live streaming, I was like, why does that matter? It doesn't matter where the information came from. If you had the information on your computer, you're guilty anyways. Like, that's a completely separate issue. Sure. Mm-hmm. Let's go after Ryan Day or whoever the private investigation was after this. The facts of the matter are, though, you did have what you had on your computer, and that makes you guilty, bro. It doesn't matter how the information was obtained. That kept happening throughout the documentary where they were like, well, yeah, like, he was at the Central, like on Twitter today, for example, he was at the Central Michigan game, but, he was actually helping Central Michigan decipher their signs so Central Michigan could be closer.
Which is still against the rules. Like,
yeah, I was like, that doesn't matter. He was at the game. Like, the amount of deflection and gaslighting is the perfect words for it from the Michigan fan base, and even inside the documentary was just baffling to me.
Yeah. I'm going to let Zack give his questions here in just a second. I just want to say one last thing, and this is my last thing. Zack, you and I said from the very beginning, Michigan fans, the person you should be mad at here is not your players, is not Connor Stalions. The person you should be mad at here is Jim Harbaugh. Because if he didn't know what was going on, which, he got a game ball, so I don't know, maybe that was kind of weird to me. But if he didn't know what was going on, like, you've allowed this team that was good enough to win the national championship in 2023 to have this asterisk or tainted or whatever it is. You've allowed that to happen because you didn't have enough control of your program to know that the sign stealer guy, had a secret underground group, which is just kind of funny to me. And he was going over and beyond to where it was against the rules. I don't know. Like, it confirms more and more to me that, like, if I'm a Michigan fan, I'm thrilled about the national championship, but man, am I mad at Jim Harbaugh because, like, dude, just keep a hold of your program because you were good enough. You could have done it. Like, you had the super seniors, you had everybody, you could have done it.
Yep.
So anyway, Zach, you did not watch the documentary, so I'm going to allow you to ask one or two questions. We don't have time for a bunch, but one or
Yeah.
two questions about the documentary, and me and Bro Casual, all right, who's Kent, right? Exactly. Bro Casual will answer your questions as best we possibly can.
Yeah. First of all, I apologize for laughing throughout the segment, but Dylan came on and just started commenting in the chat, and I just could not stop laughing. So thank you for that. So this is a bit of a joke question. How worth it is it to watch this thing? Like I got other things to do. Like, is this worth 87 minutes of my time?
I'll let you take that, Bro Casual.
No.
Okay. That's all my question. No. This is the one question, and I tweeted about this, and I'd be curious your guys' thoughts.
I'm sorry, Dylan just cracked me up right now.
It's great.
There's other good comments in here too, but go ahead.
This legitimately, I'm stupefied, and I would love both of your thoughts on this. A comment that has been thrown around on Twitter that Connor Stalions said in the documentary was, "I don't break the rules, I exploit them." And part of that, I was listening to someone talk about this, that apparently the rule is a little fuzzy about advanced scouting. And so my question is, if Connor Stalions just says, "Oh, I didn't think we were breaking the rules, but it's clear we are. I'm sorry, we'll stop." Like, does this thing just go, like, is this thing dead by November of last year?
I don't know. I don't think so, actually, because I think if he admits guilt last year, well, first of all, I know what he's worried about. He's worried that they'll get banned from the playoffs last year and immediately not be able to make it. And that was the talk. Like, if you go back to that time, that's what everyone was saying. Like, they shouldn't go to the playoffs this year. They were trying to get them out of the playoffs that year, like opposing fan bases and people that just didn't like Michigan in general. So I don't think that I think he was smart not to do it. But now, like, after the fact, I don't know if it really matters if he was just like, hey, like, I know what the rule was, and I went and read the rule today. It is really vague. It just says that there's no in-person scouting allowed, and you're not allowed to use, cell phones or cameras to film the other sidelines. He technically didn't do that. So I do see where he's coming from, like where he's living in that gray area. Like, yeah, he might have bought the tickets and got the people to go do that, but it wasn't him per se. So he is really, I mean, that's really stretching the rule as far as you can stretch it. But to me, unless I miss something in the rule exactly, I don't think that he, by the letter of the law, broke the rule when it comes to the filming stuff. He was at the Central Michigan game, though.
Yeah.
That was for sure a broken rule right there. And that he can't really deny at this point. So to me, it just comes down to how much is the NCAA going to punish Michigan versus punishing just Connor Stalions for being at that Central Michigan game, because the other stuff, like you said, it's fuzzy. It's kind of in the gray area.
Yeah, I mean, the fuzziness of it, and Brian is saying here, he says he paid people to do it. It says you can't send people to do it either. I think I'll have to look up the rule exactly to read it again, but I think the rule says, like, staff members can't be the ones who are going. So if Connor Stalions is paying the recruiting analyst guy or assistant recruiting director guy to go, like, yeah, he was a staff member for Michigan, there is technically, like, a rule being broken there. But if he's just sending his buddy or his mom to do it, like, yeah, by the letter of the law, I guess he didn't break a rule, but I mean, the message of the rule or the intent of the rule is for you not to get that information. And if he got it, then that's them saying, well, you didn't do the one part, but you still got the information, which I guess he could maybe get away with that, but I don't know. Like, that just seems like a really far-fetched thing that you're going to get to try and get out of it. I mean, I guess you could possibly if your lawyer's really, really good, but I don't know. I see where Michigan fans are coming from a little bit there, but I don't think it tracks exactly
But the
that.
but
Like,
the
oh
other
yeah, he
part
didn't
though,
break any
JR,
rules.
like him being in person and scouting though, for sure was broken.
Yeah, oh yeah, for the Central Michigan game, which like
Yeah.
Josh Payton said there were other games, which I'm like, dude, Josh, you got to put that information out there if
Yeah.
there were other games. I think there was a picture of somebody that was bald at Western Michigan a year or two ago or something like that, but it wasn't him. He just like had a hat on, or I don't even know if he had a hat on. I think he was just bald. It was like, dude, you're really stupid here. All right, Zach, one more question really fast, then we got to move on.
That was it. I don't
okay.
really have too many.
I thought you said you had two. Oh, your first one was if it worth watching. So
Yeah.
All right, Philip, bro casual, or is it Hunter Dickinson and Mattis? Yankee says, I'm watching the
forgot
Rose
about
Bowl
that.
on mute right now. It's the best game of my fan lifetime. Listen, this is exactly what Zach and I have said. Like the NCAA, you can get rid of it, like you can vacate it, but the fans still experienced it. The footage is still there. They're still going to relive it. So
It was a great game.
Yeah.
It was a great game to watch.
I would have peed my pants if I was a Michigan fan watching some of those punt returns.